What is up, bros? Now, I apologize that this video is a few hours late. Now, of course, this was released when I was at my baby's 2-month appointment. That is how fast time flies. That is absolutely insane. So after that, I came home and I'm going to get all of this stuff sorted out for the Coconut Bra fam. Thank you guys all for understanding. Now, you most likely have heard how there's not going to be a complete overhaul with the mid-season reinforcements, but instead there's going to be just minor changes. And what we got this morning was the designer's notes. And this is basically what the designer's thoughts are with the season so far and what they're going to start to implement as far as changes. Now, it's really cool because the designer notes series will provide us with insight into the balancing team's thoughts on operator balancing around the middle of each season. These will come after they have reviewed the data and feedback from the new operators and the changes. They are going to be hosting an AMA on their subreddit starting at 1 p.m. So it's going on right now, EDT April 24th. After reading the changes, be sure to head over there and ask your questions. And this is what really sets the Rainbow Six Siege community apart from the rest of the games, and why it's so standout and amazing is because the developing team actually listens and communicates with the community. So I'm going to leave all the links down below. Be sure to go and check it out. And if you want to go have a discussion about the changes over on Reddit, be sure to go and leave your feedback over there. So they have been utilizing data and player feedback to make decisions on adjustments. With that in mind, they wanted to share some of the data they have been looking at for various operators. The following charts plot the power or win delta and popularity and pick rate of the operators on attack and defense. The win delta is the average win ratio when an operator is picked minus the average win ratio when an operator is not picked. So first up, let's take a look at the attackers. So right here, this down here is the pick rate. So you can see that Ash has a really high pick rate. Of course, Lion has a really high pick rate. Twitch and Habana also have really high pick rates. But over here, you can see the win delta. So you can see that a lot of times Finca is not necessarily highly picked, but when she has a really high win ratio. So you can kind of see which changes that they may be wanting to change based on these charts. So this is really cool. Down here, you can see the defenders. And I mean, obviously, look, poor Tachanka and even Castle down here, they're not doing too hot. Echo's a little bit lower. And keep in mind also that these charts are based off of PC, Platinum, and Diamond. So the really low ranks, it's not going to be relevant with this. So you guys can see over here, Bandit, man, one of the highest pick rates. I mean, this is my main right now too. So that's kind of cool to see. I hope that he doesn't get nerfed, but it's going to be interesting to see. You can kind of guess and wonder if they want to kind of balance out everybody that's over on the edges here and bring them closer to the center. I believe that's what they're thinking. So it's going to be really interesting to see what's going on. But as far as having to play the guessing game, we got some for sure changes that they want to implement. So I'm going to scroll down here and let's take a look. First up is Lion. So no more Lion King question mark? Let's see. Their data indicates that Lion is currently too strong. He is close to 100% pick rate in Pro League, which, I mean, yeah, we've seen that tons of times. Even all my posts on Instagram, I've posted like, man, the last time he had 100% win rate, and then the last I saw he was like 97 or something. But anyways, his win delta is too high in ranked as well. They have observed feedback stating that he was not fun to play against. As such, our balancing team, or their balancing team, has been looking at a few changes to bring him in line with the other attackers. So first change that's going to happen, or the first nerf, is going to have to do with his scan outline. If you are detected by Lion's scan, it will stop displaying your outline as long as you are not moving. This has two main consequences. If a detected player stops moving, the outline will just disappear. Attackers may know where you are, but you can still change your stance without them knowing. And the second thing is, if you're detected only for a brief moment, it will be more difficult for attackers to pinpoint your location. This is only the first step to give defenders more options of counterplay against Lion's detection. They are still going to be looking into improving how Lion's detection works, and all of our feedback will help them get a better idea of how to proceed. So really sick. Be sure to go check out the links down below. Second change to him, the scan charges and cooldown. They are going to be reducing the number of charges he has from 3 down to 2. and increasing the cooldown between each charge from 10 to 20 seconds. They want to force players to make more careful choices when they want to trigger Lion's Scan. Players are currently able to chain scans too much during crucial moments. So honestly, yeah, that's a pretty smart change, because what we see a lot of times now is Lion's Scan, the first one will go off while they're planting to make sure the plant goes down, and then they'll try to use the next two to just straight up defend the bomb, because then it forces the defenders to move. So that's like a quick overlay of how to use Lion correctly. So that's going to really change the gameplay, especially changing that cooldown. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So next operator changes is going to be with Jaeger. So Jaeger's ADSs or magpies will no longer destroy Habano's X-Caros pellets. They have disabled that interaction, so she cannot deny Jaeger's magpie system so efficiently. So this is kind of a nerf to Habana almost. A single shot from the X-Kairos launcher of Habana is able to deplete the charges from multiple Magpie Jaeger's ADSs without large utility costs for the attacking team. This contributes to Habana's overall utility and therefore increases her pick rate. Removing this interaction will drive teams to utilize more of her utility in order to maneuver around Jaeger's Magpie systems. Also, what you see a lot of times is double Jaeger placements, and it is very common to see, especially in Pro League, to use Habana to clear out those ADSs so that people can get grenades, flashbangs, all that type of stuff in. So, interesting change. Next up, we got Blitz. They are looking at ways to make Blitz fun to play without making him frustrating to play against. As such, Blitz's shield flash range is being reduced from 8 meters to 5 meters, so almost in half, guys. He will also have fewer charges from 5 to 4. The Year 3 Season 1 Blitz change has brought his pick rate closer to average, but his win delta remains too high. Reducing his flashing power is the first step in that direction. We are looking into ways to give defenders more options to counter him at melee range, but that will take a little bit more time. Next operator, we got Vigil. Now they are going to be alternating how players use the electronic rendering cloak. It will now deplete its charge in 12 seconds as opposed to 30, so that's pretty huge, you guys. It will now refill in half the time though, from 12 seconds to 6 seconds. Following the nerf to Ela, Vigil has risen to the top of the pack and has become one of the strongest roamers in the game. This change will challenge Vigil players' resource management and require more skillful use to remain effective. We plan to keep an eye on his loadout, weapons in particular, moving forward, so I'll be really curious to see what else they may change with Vigil. Next up, we got Habana. Habana will be losing her Claymore and receiving a breaching charge. She is picked too often in Pro League and ranked play. This is because she brings crucial utility to the attackers. She's definitely better at gunfights than Thermite, but we want to adjust her utility before touching her weapons. Thermite will be the only hard breacher with a Claymore, and we expect this swap to rebalance their popularity. There may be more changes in the future, but they would like to keep an eye on the impact of his utility change first. Next up, we got Ying. They are going to be swapping out Ying's smoke grenades for a Claymore. She is currently too strong in highly organized groups and too weak in high-level ranked matches. This change, coupled with the LMG changes, which we're going to be taking a look at in just a second, will make her more balanced choice in both contexts. So that's really interesting, because a really strong combination, of course, is Ying's smoke. You're going to be able to bring a ton of smoke, so that's going to be a pretty big change for that. So definitely going to be curious to see how that plays out. Now, next up, we're going to be taking a look at some LMG damage. Globally, LMGs are too weak right now. They made a pass on their damage to normalize it against their generally low rate of fire. They will also review the recoil once they have implemented the new recoil system. So here we go. Let's take a look at some of these LMG updates. So the yellow on this one is the new normal damage. Wow, and the gray bar is the old damage. So they're pretty much increasing this one by 25% for standard. That's interesting. So it doesn't look like suppress is going to change too much. They're going to leave that at 29. And then the heavy barrel is just going to increase it by a little bit. So pretty interesting. So down here, they go in depth on each LMG. Feel free to pause the video on your favorite LMG if you guys want to take a closer look. I'm not going to go through and read all of it to you guys, but generally all LMGs are going to be getting a buff. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see, especially with Ying, because Ying is a very good operator. I still believe she's one of the most underrated operators within ranked. In Pro League, they've definitely figured it out, and top teams have definitely figured her out. But, oh man, Ying with a buffed LMG, that's going to be pretty nuts, man. Even Capitao too. There's a lot of good operators that have LMGs. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if this actually helps them out. So we got Ying right here. We got Capitao right here. This is a pretty big one. 34 all the way up to 48. So, man, what is that? 3-shot kill. Wow. Depending on the range. P41, which of course is Fuse, and that's going to wrap it up for the LMGs. So let's scroll down and let's keep looking into this. So current status with Finca, their data indicates that Finca's win rate is too high right now. So we kind of covered that over on the chart. She's not necessarily highly picked, but she has a huge win rate when she is picked. They want to take some time to investigate why that is before making any changes. Their focus will be to study the effects of her recoil reduction, speed boost through barbed wire, and health boost. For the speed and health boost, they will need more data to ensure they are making the right adjustments. For the recoil, they do not want to change it before the implementation of the new recoil system. Doing so would result in clouded data and feedback. With Ella is currently in a much better place right now. The data indicates that she has an acceptable pick and win rate. We do not foresee any more changes being necessary in the short term, but they're going to continue to keep an eye on her. Alright, so getting into unique operator gadgets. Their team has learned a lot from the test server and integration of Blitz's charges. One of the key takeaways being a clarification on priorities. When an operator's core gameplay varies from a typical Siege gunplay, it is particularly difficult to handle balancing wise, with the shield operators and Glaz being the best examples. They are going to keep trying to make each operator a viable choice, but they recognize that this cannot be done at the cost of players' enjoyment. If they see an increase in an operator's pick rate while keeping the current mechanics is frustrating. They're going to look for other ways to make changes. Now, besides that, looking at the current meta update, they have seen player feedback that the meta currently feels faster than it has in the past. The average round length has gone from 224 to 215. So about, 9 seconds. So not a huge change, but it definitely does feel faster. They expect that the nerf to Lion will have an impact on how the meta feels and the length of the rounds. To ensure that your questions from these changes are going to be answered, their balancing team is going to be participating in an AMA on their subreddit starting at 1 p.m. going on right now. So I'm going to leave all the links down below. Be sure to head on over there, ask your questions, and of course, I cannot wait to see how this all plays out. I think that overall these look like some really solid changes. Of course, it's impossible to say for sure as of right now, but they're definitely heading in the right direction. Their heads are in the right place. I love how they constantly are listening to the community. I absolutely love this development team. They're all badasses. But anyways, you guys head on over there. Maybe I'll see you over there on Reddit. Let me know down below what you guys think. I'll see you guys all very soon in the next video. I love you all. Peace.